こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の動画はレアルソシエダの久保建英の移籍に関する動画です。アーセナルへの移籍の噂が各方面でも反応されていますが、今回の動画では、この噂について可能性が実際にあるのか、久保建英の長所と短所は移籍金に見合うのか、など網羅的に評価しています。移籍金含め、懸念点もあるため、完全にウェルカムという感じではありませんが、実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
The January transfer window is open, so you know there's going to be a lot of big rumours. And it has already started with Arsenal looking at Takefusa Kubo, who's been linked to the side by some quite credible sources. In this video, we're going to talk about the potential of the transfer even happening and why Arsenal would be interested in a player like this in the first place. So let's get into it. Now, we're only a few days into the transfer window officially opening, and there's already a lot of nonsense about Arsenal signing players. There has been rumours that we have almost agreed personal terms with a mystery player, yet again I know, and there's been various players in the last few days that have propped up in different positions. Now, what I will say is that a lot of these probably aren't concrete. Arsenal are probably talking to a lot of teams and players, as we know, but it is early days, and ultimately everyone knows we need a forward, so they're going to shove down every forward that potentially wants to move from their club and link them with Arsenal. It's a typical agent move. Now, I will say Hand of Ozil, who is a credible source on Twitter, obviously don't believe everything anyone says, but he has been saying that this could be a move as well with the agents. A 60 mil release clause is in his contract for Kubo, and it is very unlikely that you'll probably see anyone leave Sociedad, but with the links with Arsenal Labour, the director of football there, it could be a move that we're willing to make if it convinces him also to join another one of his men that he brought in. Now, with that being said, Kubo is definitely a very interesting player. When I did analysing of all the wingers that we were linked to in the summer, I actually brought him up as a bit of a wild card when not many people were talking about him, so I'm quite informed of the player himself. And Kubo is predominantly a right winger for Real Sociedad. That's pretty much where he usually plays the last couple of years, although he has played on the left a few times, and he is another left-footed player which we know Arteta really likes. Now, he's seen as an explosive winger who uses a lot of pace and is quite a direct player, which is definitely a profile that we're looking at, and he is someone that has over 2 take-ons per 90 and around 5.5 progressive carries while having 4.5 progressive passes, which makes sense that why Arsenal would want to get someone who's good on the counter-attack, who's fast, who's nimble, and is going to directly attack the other team. Now, first of all, he is versatile. He has played up front and on the wing and also in attacking midfield quite a lot earlier on in his career, so that is definitely something Arsenal will want, that versatility. And he is a pretty good chance creator, stands at an impressive 84%, and he has a good ball retention at 68% as well. So he does have a good availability at dictating play and creating scoring opportunities for teammates. He also is someone that does love cutting in onto his left foot. We see it quite a lot where we see Waneri do them crosses and obviously Saka. And Kubo is someone that has done that quite a lot, not only for shots, which nearly all his shots on the shot map are from that area, but he can definitely cross the ball in as well. And as he is a direct player, he's also very good at cutting in and passing it off and making runs, which is something we've seen Saka do a lot. And he is also really good at coming into them central areas to get shots away. Usually he's not the best person at shooting, it doesn't take that many a game, but below 2, but has scored quite a lot of goals in his time when he gets the opportunity. Now, he doesn't have the best output ever. His output overall for Real Sociedad is pretty low, and even this season at 4 goals and 2 assists, it could definitely be improved on with 1,500 minutes played. And he is definitely a patchy player. He'll score a few goals here and there and have some really good months, and then have some months where you don't really see him as much, which of course he is only 23, and you actually get this a lot with wingers around Europe, depending on how their team plays and them trying to get more experience. So it could be something to just be aware of if he's going to start consistently for Arsenal if we have injury. Now, the best ability he probably has no matter what is his 1v1s. He is so good, not only just looking at his take-on stats, which we've mentioned, but it's the fact that his dribbling sense is so good, and he has a great close control where when players come towards him, he can usually go past them. That is definitely going to be important for Arsenal if you could play this guy on the left as well, because when Arsenal switch the ball out to their wing positions, we need our wingers to take these players on quickly, which we saw Waneri do actually against Brentford, because it helps us a lot get into the box and take them opportunities, which sometimes some of our wingers really do struggle at. I also think there is a motion with this guy where he definitely has the opportunity to produce something out of nothing. There's a few times where he'll go on a mazy run or have a shot from distance, which has usually got a lot of quality, and at his age he hasn't necessarily refined this, it's not a consistent nature, but it is something he definitely has in his locker, and he's been linked to Liverpool over the last few years to potentially be a replacement for Mohamed Salah for these moments that, if you can make more consistent, will become an elite player in that role, which is something definitely to think about, which we need. Now, I am a big fan of Kubo, but I definitely have some concerns about the player. In particular, his 50 mil release clause around pounds is quite a lot. Now, I don't think he's on the highest wages in the world, so probably would be okay in the wage bill wise, which will make the deal obviously a lot cheaper, but he hasn't exactly also kicked on as well as I want him to. Now, 9 goals, 9 assists a few years ago and 7 goals and 5 assists last season is not a low number, and even this season that's fine for now. And I do think outputs can be quite misleading. You know, wingers could get lucky goals, they could just not get the luck some years, and even Nico Williams, who's someone who rates very highly, doesn't have the best output in the league. It's quite a defensive league, people really do not move. However, Kubo hasn't really stated his claim within the Real Sociedad team still. This season he hasn't started every game, he's come in for a few, come out for a few, and Real Sociedad really struggled to score. They're one of the least highest scorers, I think, in the top 10 in that league, and it's something they've been really struggling with throughout this season. Now, obviously that maybe isn't his fault, and maybe that actually shows that he's in a team that aren't really working going forward, which will make him worse, which I think is fair. But I also have worries about the physicality. Now, I do think this maybe get a bit overrated sometimes, and I think when Fabio Vieira comes in, that definitely has a motion in people's head of what we need to have, and it's fine. I think if you're small, you can be very effective, but you need to be, one, prepared for physical tackles to come in and sort of play off of that and being able to take that and continue to go and basically stand up for yourself. And Kubo is a small guy, which could be a problem, but he is quite feisty and can fight, and I do think maybe if you're going to go for that small, progressive, fast dribbler, it may be better for Arsenal to have someone deeper who can do that than someone that's playing on the wing. And that's why I think someone like Alberto Moreno, who we spoke about a few weeks ago, probably would have been a better option and for around about the same price. And that's the thing, there has been rumours that Arsenal have been looking at this guy for a few years. When we went to see Real Sociedad, he's one of the players that we have seen when we looked at Moreno and other players for that team. And obviously at this point we are becoming Real Sociedad, we're trying to sign all their players and even their director of football. Now, I think there is definitely some talent relations. I think Alaba definitely saw this guy and it's one of his guys, so maybe he's in talks with us, and if he is going to join, that's someone he wants to join in. And I do think there is an upside potential to Kubo. For years they're talking about Liverpool, there definitely is that talent inside him. It's just if you can make sure he can do it consistently, and he hasn't been doing it consistently for Sociedad, who even then don't give him opportunities every week, which is going to be a lot harder to jump up to. And if you can make sure he's versatile, so could play centrally, play on both of the wings, it would be a better signing for Arsenal, because I think we need someone who can do that. And he's someone around the same age as, of course, Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, so not only that could help him a lot, but he can cover on both wings if we need to. He doesn't have to start every game and can come into the middle, and I think that's what Arsenal need. We need someone that isn't going to sit on the bench for Saka necessarily all the time, but they can definitely do it and still be happy, and I think Kubo does represent that. And the problem is, I get January's hard, and that's why this guy has a release clause of 50 mil or so. It probably is maybe quite realistic to get him in with that sort of money, but I still think that's quite an overspend for a player that hasn't started all the time for Sociedad and has problems with selfishness and other things as well. I also think for that amount of money, there is surely other players that Arsenal could put risks on that I think may be better. I mean, even people like Omar Marmoush, for instance, at Frankfurt, he would probably go for around that sort of money. Even Manchester City are linked with him, and I feel like that may make more sense as a risk to take. I get why, though, Arteta would probably want this guy from Sociedad more than him. But I do like aspects about him. He works hard defensively. I think that he has the determination, I think, is key. And he's also half owned by Real Madrid, which is something we're going to have to consider when we spend money on him. They'll get a lot of it as well. And Kubo is definitely a better player than a lot of the players I've seen Arsenal been linked to in the past. So it's definitely not the worst player in the world. And obviously nothing's really concrete. It's kind of just rumours, probably agent-led, because I think he definitely would want to come to Arsenal, and that's what seems quite likely. But I know that Arsenal have had some sort of interest in him over the last few years, and he's probably definitely on the list. It makes sense. He has some of the profile factors that I think we would want in a player, and if he is the only one that is gettable, maybe that's the option we should go for. Now, it's early days, a lot can still happen in this window, and this may not even be accurate at all. However, that's basically what Kubo is, and I do think he could work for Arsenal, but I think we should definitely look to buy other players first, maybe him as a backup, if you know what I mean. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think he would be a good signing if he was to join, or who actually do you want us to bring in who's realistic this month? Because I do think Kubo is a realistic signing, so that's why I think these rumours mean a little bit more than some of the others you've seen. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one.
次は解説です。 今回の動画は、久保建英とその移籍についてを評価しているため、プレーの描写やプレースタイルを説明するような表現が多かったかなと思います。ナレーション口調でもあり、リスニングも比較的容易なものだと思います。それでは解説をチェックしてみましょ
that have propped up in different positions.
プラップアップはもともと物理的に何かを支えるという意味を持ちますが、比喩的には弱いものを支援したり、補強したりすることを指します。例えば、経済的に苦しい会社を政府が資金援助する場合や、困難な状況にある人を精神的に支える場合に使われます。また、スポーツやエンターテインメントの分野では、注目を集めるために特定の選手や作品を宣伝し、後押しするような状況を表現する際にも使われます。
That have propped up in different positions. So they're going to shove down every forward.
シャブダウンは、直訳すると押し下げる、押し込むという意味を持つフレーズですが、比喩的には何かを無理やり押し付ける、または受け入れさせるというニュアンスで使われます。例えば、サッカーの移籍市場では、代理人やメディアが特定の選手を無理やり大きなクラブと関連付けたり、噂を作り上げる際に使われることがあります。日常生活では、自分の意見や価値観を他人に強引に押し付けるような状況を描写する際にも適用されます。
So they're going to shove down every forward. So I'm quite informed of the player himself.
Be informed は特定の話題や状況について十分な情報や知識を持っていることを意味し、個人が正確で信頼できる情報に基づいて判断や行動を行う際に使われます。例えば、政治や社会問題について意識的に情報を収集することや、スポーツの戦術や選手について詳しく知っていることを表現するのに適しています。単に情報を持つだけでなく、それを理解し、活用できる状態を強調するフレーズとしても使われ、知識や洞察力を重視する状況において非常に価値のある概念を伝えています。
So I'm quite informed of the player himself. Who's fast, who's nimble.
ニンブルは素早く、軽やかに動く能力や柔軟で速やかな思考を表す言葉です。身体的な動作を指す場合には、俊敏さや身軽さを表現し、特にスポーツやダンスなどで使われることが多く、比喩的な意味としては、状況に迅速かつ柔軟に対応する能力や頭の回転が速いことを示す場面でも用いられます。例えば、サッカー選手が鋭い動きで相手をかわす様子や、ビジネスの世界で難局を素早く乗り越える能力を説明する際に非常に適した表現です。
Who's fast, who's nimble, and he is definitely a patchy player.
パッチーは何かが不均一であったり、ムラがある状態を表す表現で、状況や物事の質が一貫していない場合によく使われます。例えば、サッカーの文脈では、選手のパフォーマンスに波があることを説明する際に使われたり、天気予報で局所的な雨を表す場合や、製品の完成度に部分的なばらつきがある時にも使用され、一貫性が欠けている状態を簡潔に表現できる便利なフレーズです。
And he is definitely a patchy player. He'll go on a mazy run or have a shot from distance.
メージとは、迷路のように曲がりくねった、または複雑で予測しにくい動きを表す言葉です。地図や道順を説明する際にも使われますが、特にスポーツでは、選手がジグザグに進みながら相手をかわすドリブルの動きなどを指します。この表現は、複雑な状況や動きを描写する場面でも幅広く使われます。
So he'll go on a mazy run or have a shot from distance. And at his age, he hasn't necessarily refined this.
リファインは何かをより良いものにする、洗練させる、磨きをかけることを意味します。もともとは原料から不純物を取り除くという工業的なプロセスを指しますが、日常生活やスポーツの文脈では、スキルや能力を向上させることを表します。例えば、選手がシュート精度を高めるために練習を重ねる過程や、プロジェクトをより完成度の高いものに仕上げる作業を指し、成長や改善のプロセスを的確に表す便利な表現です。
And at his age, he hasn't necessarily refined this. But he hasn't exactly also kicked on as well as I want him to.
キックオンは、現状からさらに前進し、次の段階に進むことを指す表現です。特にスポーツの文脈では、選手が一段と成長し、期待以上の活躍を見せる場面や、チームが勢いに乗り流れをつかむ状況でよく使われます。例えば、若手選手が経験を積み、スキルを向上させて真の実力を発揮する際に適しています。日常会話でも、 プロジェクトがさらに進むや、状況が好転するといった前向きな変化を表現する際に使用されます。
But he hasn't exactly also kicked on as well as I want him to. But he hasn't exactly also kicked on as well as I want him to. And sort of play off of that and being able to take that.
プレイオフオブは他者の行動や状況に応じて自分の動きを調整し、それを活かして行動することを意味します。スポーツでは、相手のミスを利用してチャンスを作ったり、状況に合わせて柔軟にプレーを展開する動きを表します。例えば、ストライカーがディフェンダーの隙をついてポジションを取るシーンや、ミッドフィルダーがチームメイトの動きに応じて攻撃を組み立てる場面に適用されます。この表現は、連携や起点の効いたプレーを描写するのに非常に適しています。
And sort of play off of that and being able to take that and sort of play off of that and being able to take that and continue to go and basically stand up for yourself.
Stand up for oneself とは、批判や不当な扱いに対して自分自身を守り、意見や権利をしっかり主張することを意味します。例えば、サッカーの試合では、選手が相手の激しいプレッシャーに屈せず、自分のプレーを貫く姿勢を描写する際に適しています。日常生活でも使われる表現で、困難な状況に直面しても自分の信念を曲げない行動を称賛する言葉です。
That and continue to go and basically stand up for yourself. That and continue to go and basically stand up for yourself. But he is quite feisty and can fight.
フィスティとは元気が良く、負けん気の強い性格や行動を表す言葉です。特に小柄な人や選手が体格に関係なく闘志をむき出しにして戦う様子に使われます。また、積極的で活発な振る舞いを称賛するポジティブな意味でも、時に短気や挑発的な態度を表すネガティブな意味でも使われることがあります。例えば、小柄なサッカー選手が大柄な相手に臆することなく挑む姿勢を描写する際に適した表現です。
But he is quite feisty and can fight. But he is quite feisty and can fight.
いかがでしたか？久保建英はプレイヤーとしては素晴らしいものの、一貫性や数字の面、かつフィジカルの面では懸念もあるというところでしたね。移籍金に関しても、確かに6000万ユーロを払うなら、かなりトップレベルの選手が取れるでしょうから。少し割高な感じがしても仕方ないと感じます。その中でも、この移籍の噂が代理人主導であるというところが意外と一番しっくりくるような気もしました。もしそうであれば、久保がアーセナルに行くことに前向きであり、それを実現しようとしていることでしょうし、久保が先発で使われない理由として、久保側が移籍のために動きすぎているからではないかという、レオザフットボールの推測にも合いますので、おそらく6000万ユーロを実際に出すならば、ソシエダも容認するのだろうとも感じます。いずれにせよ、まだ2点3点しそうですので、動向をチェックしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。